Arsenal Fan TV, Mo. I could tell by the look on your face, you look very disappointed. It was looking good. We got back in the game, looked like we were sort of controlling it. But do you think we made a mistake by just sitting too deep at the end there? I mean, it's one of those, it's hard. You don't know whether to keep going for it, like what we used to do, and then we get done. Or did we make the right decision to try and defend it and we just got done?
Look, I don't even think it's a conscious decision. I just think it's very, very tough when you're holding on, and the importance of this game. I don't think it was lost on anyone. We knew how much it would have meant if we had come here and won the first of two tough, very away fixtures. So I think it's just a natural progression in the game that the players do end up getting pushed a little bit further back, and there is a flip side to it as well. The further back that you get pushed, the more chance there is of being able to hit on the counter. On another day, it would have been 4-2 and we'd be saying we played it perfectly. So I don't think it's a conscious decision where we should be applying blame anywhere. It's just football, and it happens to the best teams in the world. You do get pushed back and you find yourself in those positions. They always looked like there was another goal left in that game at 3-2, and unfortunately it always looked like it was going to be Liverpool's, because on the counter-attack I think we were very untidy with the ball. We weren't very precise or focused with our counters, and it was frustrating to see that. We've got really good players that can run with the ball like the Ox, running straight into Toure at one point, without him really even having to make a tackle, and you're thinking, for God's sake, that's a great opportunity. But look, it's hard because I don't know which hat to put on right now, a football fan's hat or an Arsenal fan's hat. And obviously, look, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I feel gutted. But I have to say, if I'm going to try and be objective for a second, it's probably game of the season. It was an absolutely brilliant game. That was just such an entertaining game of football, advert for the Premier League and all of that sort of stuff. And if this is what we're going to get when Klopp takes on Wenger and vice versa, then we're in for treats. But, I just, coming to Anfield leaves a bad taste in my mouth all the time. 5-1, 2-2, 97th minute equaliser, 3-3, Joe Allen last minute equaliser. That is hard to take, man. But then, if we're going to try and be a bit sort of sensible about this and put a bit of perspective on it, yeah, it's 2 points lost. But when you look at it in the context of the league today, City drew, so no quarter given or taken against them, and Tottenham lost against Leicester. I'd rather Leicester are level on points with us than Tottenham winning today, so I'm happy with that result. We've come here and we're in as good a position as we were before. And in fact, we're in a better position because we haven't opened the gap or anything, but we haven't lost the gap. Again, I'm excusing Leicester in this, but we're one game closer to the end of the season. So look, we wanted 4 points out of the 6 out of these 2 tough away games, right? And we've got one of them. It would have been great to get 3 and go to Stoke knowing that we don't really have to win. But I do think Stoke now we have to win, because we also need to believe that we can go away from home, because we've got a lot of big away games coming up.
And a lot of players now starting, when we look on it, players are going to be coming back. Alexis hopefully should be back soon. Rosiki's back in training. We're going to need these guys, aren't we? Because 100%. We do look like we don't really have nothing else on the bench when players are tired. I mean, I thought Ozil today, played very well, but once he went off, there was nobody to sort of keep hold of that ball in a way.
Yeah, I think Ozil, he played all right, but it wasn't his best game. I think we do need to keep things fresh a little bit. And I do find it almost laughable that we are now, as Arsenal fans, pinning our hopes on a guy that we've never, ever seen play. We're all talking about Elneny as in we need him, he's got to come and hit the ground running. We don't know the first thing about him, let's face it. You might have seen a few YouTube clips, but everyone is good on YouTube, okay?
But I think people realise that is the area of weakness.
Definitely.
What I mean? The area of weakness right now is that we've got guys like Flamini Arteta who can come in and do a job. I think there are guys that can do a job there, but you need that specialist there in these type of games, don't
100%. Look, there's the CDM and the striker. If they're playing by themselves in these positions, I've always said it, you need specialists in this area. Flamini's not a specialist, I'm afraid. He maybe was at one point, then he left for Milan. He's not a specialist anymore. He's on the downward, right? And Arteta has never, ever been a CDM. He's a round hole, he's a round peg in a square hole. The problem is, we need Coquelin. I think today Coquelin would have been the difference, because it was a very scrappy game and there were players making quite elementary mistakes. I think Theo Walcott for the first goal, you know what a Klopp team is going to do. You know that if you get the ball and your back's to goal, the moment you turn around there's going to be 2 or 3 of them closing you down. And what he was trying to do coming out of that right-hand corner in the direction he was attacking, he would have had to do something very special to get out of that and lay something on. You know, the thing is, you should have played the percentages and make it easy for yourself. And then out of nowhere, we got a goal back from our first attack, and I don't know how that happened. And then again, we don't clear our lines, and Firmino, credit to him, a superb striking. If you're beating Peter Cech from that range, it's going to be a great strike. But we didn't learn the lesson again. And then, I don't know how, again, we got a goal, you know, out of nowhere. Giroud put it in. And then when we finally go and take the lead from a beautiful piece of finishing from Giroud, and credit to Giroud today, because I thought some of his centre-forward play was absolutely brilliant. Then, you know, we go and get that sucker punch right at the end, which I'm not going to blame anyone for, but I just think we need to learn a few lessons. You know, we couldn't do much about that final goal because it's a natural progression in football, but the first 2 goals, it was very, very sloppy. But listen, as I said, if we just retain a bit of perspective on this one, obviously you're really, really disappointed. But had it been the other way around, had we equalised, we'd all be quite buzzing. We'd all be quite chuffed. We'd be saying it's a point gained. It didn't happen like that, so we all feel really gutted about it. But the important thing is, and this is what it comes to now, if you're going in for that league title, our rivals didn't gain any ground on us other than Leicester. And as I say, you know, with all due respect to Leicester, I'm not as worried about them as I am City. So, you know, with an eye on City, I'm not happy with today, but it could have been worse. And really, it was a fair result, because that was a cracking game of football that could have gone anyway.
We win at Stoke, then a lot of us were sitting here and saying 4 points out of 2 away games, brilliant. Yeah, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth because it was a 90th minute goal. And I think that all our goals were avoidable, should we say. But I think tonight highlighted how much we're missing Coquelin. And I think it also highlighted for me this group of players that have been playing week in, week out for the last few weeks covering is starting to look a bit tired now.